It's really good today to be able to talk to Darrell and Faith Grice. They served at Cambridge Road, Middlesbrough during 2011. They're now back in Texas at their church, The Heights in Richardson. But it's good to be able to ask questions of them today about American Interim. Darrell and Faith, I wonder if you can tell us what first of all interested you in American Interim, why you offered yourselves as possible ministers to serve.
After I retired, I realized that Faith and I would have opportunities to serve the Lord in ways that really we had not had in vocation. And as we prayed and looked at the possibilities, why American Interim Pastor Ministry came along, and it looked to be a perfect fit for what we were looking for, and that proved to be the case.
Secondly, I wonder whether you can tell us what were the things that helped you to prepare most before you came over for your first term as an interim.
Yes, Chuck McComb is the founder and the president of American Interim Pastor Ministry, and his background is engineering, and that has shown in all of his preparation. He is very detailed, very thorough, and we could not have asked for better indoctrination and answering all of our questions, even some we hadn't even thought to ask. In fact, he has a booklet that is available to those who are interested, and in this booklet, beautiful picture of the Lake District to whet your appetite. But it's all about the voluntary ministry in England, and really answers almost every question you could have. So the preparation was very thorough, and really we felt when we went totally prepared to meet the needs.
Now, as I've already mentioned to the folk in the UK, you served at Cambridge Road in Middlesbrough. Perhaps you can tell us why you accepted their invitation to come.
I believe that the more we learned about the needs of Cambridge Road, the more we felt like this was an area where we might be used of the Lord. The process came about. You want to share how that all came?
Well, we just received a call one night from Chuck McComb asking if we would give permission for him to put our name in along with several others before Cambridge Road Baptist Church. So we said, well, yes. So that began the initial process. And then over a period of months, as the church saw the video from us and saw a little bit about us and prayed about it, and we certainly spent a great deal of time praying about it, then this is what led to the decision to go and serve there.
Might point out, and the churches need to know this that are considering going with the American Interim Pastor Ministry, that every church that expresses an interest receives a video of them preaching, and a video answering questions by an interviewer, as well as a document that gives their experiences and at least 4 references. So it's very thorough. And so they have these 4 candidates to prayerfully consider. It's not that they're just given one choice. And we knew that. We knew that we were going to be one of the 4. So our prayer was that the church, first of all, would be unanimous in being drawn to one of these candidates, whatever one. And then that would be the indication, if they were to select us, that this would answer our prayer, that God is in it, and we would respond.
So the night that Chuck called saying that he had gotten a call from the Cambridge Road Baptist Church that they had voted to call us, and that we didn't even have to say we'll pray about it further. The answer was yes. If they feel led to us, then our heart is to go and serve there.
Darrell and Faith, I know that you settled in very quickly into Cambridge Road, Middlesbrough. What were the things that they did before you came that helped you to settle in so quickly?
Well, every preparation that was needed had been made. The manse was in good order. A lot of work had been done to make it comfortable. It had been pretty much, it was vacant, so they had secured furniture that was needed. Many had worked hard, but Two ladies were there to welcome us when we walked in, had lunch prepared, had food there for several days. So it was just a warm welcome, and that was actually preceded by one of the deacons coming to Manchester to pick us up so we wouldn't have to take
Which is no small
train.
thing.
No,
It's a
but
long drive.
instead of having to take the train then from Manchester over to Middlesbrough, he was there to meet us and take us. So that was a very warm and appreciated welcome. But the whole setup was just one that we felt very warmly welcome from the very beginning.
Actually, we felt like we knew some of them simply because of the internet and email. We had corresponded back and forth with several, and so we felt like we somewhat knew them, though we'd never met them. And then when Dave met us at the airport, we had a chance for about 2.5 hours for him to fill us in on the needs of the church and so forth. And so by the time we hit, this was our first day. By the end of the first day, we felt like we were at home, really. Mm-hmm. And they did provide a rental car. So while Faith was meeting with the ladies at the manse, he took me to get the car and then to check me out to make sure I could drive on the wrong side of the road.
Or the right side for them.
Or the right side for them, wrong side for us. He took me around and let me drive around. And then when he felt secure, I followed him on back to the manse, and we had lunch together. And it just got us off to a great start.
Mm-hmm.
And everything after that was just like that.
And that evening, a number dropped by to welcome us, several of the deacons. So from the very beginning, it was just a great experience. It's
really amazing that in a short time, you can get to feel so close to fellow believers. We have dear friends now in that church, and it all goes back to the way they received us, and we really appreciate it.
It'd be really good if you could share with us the joys that you had from that ministry in Middlesbrough.
The joys have been innumerable. Many said as we were leaving what a blessing we were to them. They have no idea what a blessing they were to us. They enriched our lives more than we can imagine. But we came to the church at a point of need, and really that's why many of the churches in England call on American Interim Pastors, because they're going through various situations in their churches, but a time when they're not able to support a full-time British pastor, and sometimes they just need someone to come over with perhaps a new vision or new encouragement or new approach. And this was pretty much the case with Cambridge Road. They were going through a difficult time in their church life, and I really do believe, and they seem to agree as well, that this was God's doing. He placed us there for a specific time in the church life. And we were able to meet with the deacons regularly and look at what the church's future held and what we could do to reach out in the community and work with them. We don't come to, and this is for all of the British churches to understand, we don't come to Americanize any of the churches. We come to just work with them, and sometimes just to bring encouragement, to bring new approaches to ministry, and perhaps things that they hadn't thought about.
And to bring a little flavor from the colonies.
Well, that's true. In fact, you might mention, as we visited.
Yes, this was one of the most exciting things to me. I love to go to the charity shops, and so often as soon as they would hear my voice, they would say, "Oh, are you here on holiday?" And I said no, and I would tell them why we were there, where the church was located, and give them an invitation to come and worship with us on Sunday morning. And also in the grocery stores, wherever we went about, and as soon as they hear me speaking, more so than Darrell.
She's got a little southern accent.
They want to know why we're there, and it gives us a wonderful, open opportunity to share.
Great outreach opportunities. Mm-hmm. But our vision for Cambridge Road is, and our prayer is that God will continue to lead them now. While we were there, we were able to work with them in getting the church profile and getting that out to the British Union, all the churches, and in the UK looking for a full-time pastor. So they're in the process right now. And that's always the aim of the American Interim Pastor Ministry, is to do what we can to help the churches get strong enough and vision enough to call a full-time British pastor. And prayerfully and hopefully that's exactly what's going to happen with Cambridge Road Baptist Church soon.
And finally, it would be good if you could just give us some ideas which we could to share with churches to encourage them to think about whether they could make use of the ministry of American Interims.
Well, personally, we would encourage any church who is now without a British pastor, who's going through perhaps a time when they're not able to fully financially support a British pastor, to consider this as a possible way of bridging a gap. It's an opportunity to get someone to come who has a real heart for the Lord first, a heart for people, and a desire to serve, who could come with perhaps a new approach, a new vision, and help the church through these months when they're just looking for a new vision. And financially, it's not nearly as much as calling a full-time British pastor, but for some churches it would be a real struggle. So I'd even point out that there are cases, in fact one of our interims, where churches here in the States helped supplement the finances needed. So our desire is just to help the churches that need help, whatever it takes. But first of all, you have to call. As the scripture says, you have not because you ask not. So I would encourage any church that is even halfway interested to talk with the leadership in the Baptist Union there in the UK, or talk with Chuck McComb directly. Find out what's involved and go from there. We strongly encourage it.
Darrell and Faith, thank you so much for sharing your experiences. You know how much we appreciated your ministry.